few weeks ago, I did a video on my channel where I hinted at something that got me massive progress with TIG welding. I picked up a couple things from my local hardware store, and after putting these things together and running some tests, I was able to film my welds with my phone. Like really well. Look at the footage I was able to get. But after watching the footage, I was starting to see some of the sneaky bad habits that I had formed over the years. That's right, I had been TIG welding for over a decade at that point. Now, when I am teaching somebody and I'm looking to take them to the next level of progress, I actually get my students to do some work where they are filming their welding. Obviously, when we finish each weld, we do want a breakdown to take a look at and see how we actually did. But honestly, most of the breakdown and the feedback of what we see happens when we watch the footage of what we filmed. So the first thing we want to make sure we do, and most importantly, is make sure that you have a lesson or something that you can follow to learn. Because what you want is some good footage to compare your work to. This is one of the biggest things. This is absolutely key. You can absolutely film yourself welding, but if you don't have something that you can compare your footage to, you're essentially practicing blind. Okay, so what we are going to do here right now is follow along with a lesson that you can get right now for free. This is a 30-minute class that I used to teach in person and charge money for. But you can click on the link in the description below and get it right now. And once you get that video, you can use it to follow along with the things that we're gonna go over in this episode here right now. Pause this video and go get it, or you can grab it after you finish watching this one and come back. We're gonna film ourselves doing 3 different lessons. The first one in that class is a really simple and really fun one called the dry arc. This is all you are going to do here, super simple. We are basically just gonna run passes with no filler here, and we are gonna focus on 2 things. Again, this may seem super simple to an intermediate welder, but even somebody like myself who had a lot of experience when I started trying to do this, taking the time to film yourself with this lesson is gonna show you some things that you would probably never expect. And it's gonna pay off big time. The first is gonna be our torch technique. More specifically, the consistency of your standoff distance, arc length, arc distance, whatever you wanna call it. This refers to the distance from the tip of your tungsten to your workpiece. We want this distance to be consistent from start to finish, and this is gonna translate over to other lessons later as well. When I started filming myself doing this years and years ago, I was horrified with how inconsistent I was with this. I was doing really high quality work. I'd been professional at what I was doing for like over a decade, but this was just a blatant bad habit that I had picked up without even knowing it. Watching film and objectively breaking down what I was seeing when I was welding, there was no arguing there was a bad habit that I had to take care of, but now I had the opportunity to do it. This will be the first thing that you're gonna wanna watch for when you compare your footage to what you see in my class. And then that leads up to the second thing that we're gonna watch for here. And I apparently had formed this bad habit after years without even realizing it. Can you spot it here? Watch. No? How about now? Watch this one. After I was finished a pass, I would be so excited to look at the work that I did. I would finish my weld and I would pull the torch out of the way to take a look. Now, it doesn't matter. However you pull away a torch from a welding area when it is glowing red hot like this, when you do this, you are compromising the gas coming out of the torch. And instead of a shiny tungsten like we see here, pulling it away like this would potentially mess up your gas flow and it could form oxide like this here. This is something that you really want to make sure that you avoid. This oxide can then be blown off the tungsten into the start of the next weld that you do. Anybody out there who's experienced dirty starts with each pass, this would be the first 2 things I would really focus on making sure are perfect. And again, watch the free lesson on this one. It's going to show you exactly what to look for. Compare your footage to the footage in that class. Make sure that the stuff you see on your phone when you watch it stacks up well with the stuff in this lesson. I'm also going to show you machine settings, how to set up your plate, as well as other important things to do with this exercise here. At this point, we're going to start adding filler material to the mix here. And this is where bad habits can start to creep in and things can get dicey really quickly if you're not aware of it. So one of the most important things you're going to consider at this point here is the angle that you are filming from. I do have this thing sitting flat on my table a lot, pretty much almost the same plane as the workpiece. It looks great for footage that I used to use on my welding channel, but if you're doing this for the sake of practicing, this is what I recommend. What you want to do is make sure that your little camera fixture is set up so that you are filming roughly at a 30 to 45 degree angle. This is going to be much more accurate to how you will actually be looking at your work yourself. So again, when you're watching the footage, this is going to be pretty close to how you are positioned, whether you are sitting or standing. You can use little blocks of wood to position it like this. You You can wedge the fixture up so that it's angled exactly the way that you need. Just obviously make sure that your lens as well as your phone are secure in the woodblock. Now in this lesson here, we are going to add another 2 things that we are going to look for when we watch our footage. The first thing that we're going to check out is that your filler hand posture is correct. That's right, your filler hand. You want to make sure that you are feeding in line with the pass direction. You do not want any side feeding like what we see here. You want your filler hand feeding right in line with the pass direction like this here. Next, you want to make sure that as you feed, you are not creeping your hand out towards the welding area at all. It does take some time to learn, but just make sure that when you get comfortable and add filler material to the mix, when you start feeding the filler material from your hand stays stationary and feeds from this position here and does not move. And when you're filming, you can see pretty clearly if you're doing this correctly. The next thing that you're going to look for in your footage is how the filler material is actually being added to the welding puddle. We do not want to see any fumbling around with the tip of the filler material, any shakiness, anything like this. We want it to remain in nice and close, nice and stable, and when we add filler material to the puddle each time, we want to hit the sweet spot of the puddle. And again, if you want a further breakdown of the sweet spot of the puddle, check the free class. Now, of course, we are going to add these new 2 things that we're talking about here to the previous 2 things that we talked about already. If you missed that, go back and watch it. The timestamp is right here. Make sure you get all that information. This filler material technique combined with the torch stuff that we learned earlier, this is going to prevent the tip of your filler material from being blown off. This will get you clean dabs into your welding puddle each step that you take. And this is going to put you into a great place to move ahead to the next challenge. And this is where we are going to actually start putting together complete joints. Now, in the class that I keep talking about, we actually do a butt joint configuration. However, this is essentially the exact same thing that you can apply to no matter what joint you are doing. This works especially good for outside corner joints, and just make sure that whatever joint you are filming, consider the angle that you want to film from. But now at this point, we've got 4 really important things that you want to focus on no matter what joint you are practicing, and you're going to be able to clearly and objectively see all of these details with the footage that you get. Watching footage of yourself practice is so important and so valuable. Now you can look this up for yourself, but this is something that is proven by science. Yes, that's right, we are getting scientific here right now. There are multiple studies online that if you watch yourself practicing something, it can show you objectively things that you are not aware that you are doing, good or bad. This can be something like practicing your golf swing or something else with sports, practicing presentations or speeches. I just read this actually getting ready for this episode, but there's even studies about how if you record yourself talking to somebody else in person, this can actually help point out things to help form better enunciation with words and better speech habits overall. How crazy is that? With the welding that we are filming and reviewing footage on, this is the exact same thing. Getting clear footage that you can watch easily on your phone, filming at the appropriate angles for whatever exercise you're working on. This is going to show you all kinds of things you have no idea you're doing and how to fix them. If you want to learn how to make this fixture as well as some settings that I use on my phone, watch this episode here next. It's going to show you exactly what to purchase from your hardware store, how to set it up, as well as a couple tricks you can do with your camera to get great looking footage.